He didn't have anyone apart from a single friend. But the mafia became cause of her death. The mafia boss thought his strong connections will protect him, not knowing a psychopath is on a trail to hunt him down. Welcome back to Paramount Recapped. I don't have many subscribers, but your single comment is a ray of hope to motivate me. Adam Clay used to be a beekeeper, or at least that's what he told people. Turns out he had a past life as a secret agent for a super covert organization called the Beekeeper. Yeah, because nothing screams elite spy like a guy covered in bees, right? The Beekeeper was basically a government task force that dealt with cases regular law enforcement couldn't handle. Adam was great at it, but eventually he hung up his spy gadgets for a bee smoker and decided to live the quiet life. One day, while Adam was doing his usual honey-making thing, he ran into Mrs. Parker, the sweet old lady he had rented his beekeeping warehouse to. Now, Adam liked Mrs. Parker a lot, kind of like you'd like a mom, except one who bakes cookies and runs a charity for underprivileged kids. Pretty cool, right? But Mrs. Parker wasn't just sharing a charity. She was also sharing a laptop full of viruses. Out of nowhere, her laptop got hit with a virus. Boom! Suddenly, there's a message telling her to call this mysterious number. Classic scam stuff, but Mrs. Parker didn't know that. She freaked out and called the number, connecting her to this smooth-talking guy named Garnett, who worked for a fake antivirus company. He must have had a PhD in scamology because he had her believing everything he said. She asked him, "How did my laptop get a virus?" "I have antivirus software." Garnett, putting on his best concerned tech guy voice, apologized and said, "Oh, technical issues on our end." "Yep, smooth as honey." As an apology, he offered to transfer some money to her account. Mrs. Parker, bless her heart, gave him her bank details, and Garnett accidentally sent her $50,000. Then he called back like, "Oops, sorry, I only meant to send $500. Can you return the extra?" "My bad." What a nice guy, right? Mrs. Parker, being the kind soul she was, logged into her account to send the money back. And then, poof, her entire $2 million charity fund vanished. Just like that, Garnett and his scammy friends were probably popping champagne bottles at the office, celebrating their $2 million score. Meanwhile, Mrs. Parker was left in shambles, realizing she'd just been conned. Adam, completely unaware of all this, was busy making honey, thinking about giving Mrs. Parker a jar. But when he showed up at her house, it was dark and quiet. Not your typical, "I'm here to drop off honey" vibes. He walked inside and found Mrs. Parker, who had tragically taken her own life. Poor Adam, he just wanted to deliver some honey, and now he's in the middle of a crime scene. Things got even weirder when her daughter, Verona, who worked for the FBI, burst in and pointed a gun at him. That escalated quickly. She thought Adam was involved in her mom's death and arrested him on the spot. Turns out, though, Mrs. Parker's death wasn't Adam's fault. Verona soon figured out that her mom had been scammed out of her money, leading to her tragic decision. Adam got cleared the next day, and Verona apologized, saying, "Sorry for thinking you were a murderous beekeeper." Adam just nodded and said, "Happens to the best of us." But Adam wasn't about to let this slide. He had a soft spot for Mrs. Parker, and now he was out for justice, or maybe revenge. He called up a former colleague from the Beekeeper to help him track down the scammer's location. Once he had the address, he loaded up with 2 containers of gasoline. Nothing says, business like gasoline. When he showed up at the scam company's office, it was game on. Adam easily knocked out the guards and stormed inside like some kind of honey-powered action hero. He found Garnett, who was like, whoa, let's talk about this. But Adam was not in the mood for chatting. After pouring gasoline everywhere, he casually told everyone to get out if they didn't want to end up crispy. And then he blew the place up because, subtlety isn't Adam's style. Meanwhile, Derek, the scam company's boss, heard about the explosion. When Garnett called him and said, so this beekeeper just blew up our office, Derek wasn't exactly thrilled. He immediately ordered Garnett to hire a hitman to take Adam out. The next day, as Adam was minding his bees again, Garnett and the hitman showed up and started blasting away at his beehives. Really? Shooting at bees? They might as well have put a bad guy sticker on their foreheads. Adam, however, was already onto them and led them to his warehouse, where he easily took them out, despite them firing hundreds of rounds. Garnett should have known better than to mess with a beekeeper-turned-secret agent. After beating them up, Adam decided to toy with Garnett a little instead of just finishing him off. Call it payback for the bees. Once he was satisfied, Adam left Garnett humiliated and hurt, like literally missing a few fingers. On the other side of things, Verona was at work when she got the news that Mrs. Parker's warehouse had been torched. Rushing over, she found the bodies of the hitmen and an ID card that belonged to Garnett. She quickly pieced together that Garnett was behind the scam that ruined her mom's life and Adam was somehow involved in taking them down. Meanwhile, Garnett had barely escaped with his life and called Derek, explaining that Adam was way more dangerous than they had anticipated. While Garnett was on the phone, though, Adam showed up again like a bad penny. This time, he strapped Garnett to his own car, sending it flying off into the ocean, all while Derek listened in horror over the phone. Adam made sure Derek knew he was next on the hit list. As for Verona, she was back at the FBI office, trying to figure out who Adam really was, but her search came up empty. The FBI had found Garnett's body tied to Adam's car, but all they knew was that this beekeeper wasn't your average honeymaker. Verona was now more convinced than ever that everything connected back to Adam. The focus shifted to Derek, who was nervously updating his father about the mess his antivirus business was in. Turns out, Derek's dad held a super high position. He was the chief director of the FBI. With that kind of protection, Derek was basically untouchable. Oh, and his mom? She was the newly elected president of the United States. Yeah, this guy was covered from all angles. Shortly after, President Dan called Derek's dad to ask what trouble their son was caught up in now. Derek's father explained that a guy named Adam Clay, who was some ex-beekeeper, was after him. Concerned, the president urged her husband to make sure their son was safe. Wasting no time, Derek's dad reached out to Janet Harwood, the leader of the beekeeper organization, asking about Adam. Janet confirmed that Adam had retired, but this didn't comfort Derek's dad. He ordered Janet to get all beekeeper agents on the mission to take Adam out, saying the president herself demanded it. Janet followed orders and set the wheels in motion to track Adam down. Later that night, while Adam was at a gas station, he got attacked by a female beekeeper agent. After a long fight, Adam managed to win by using fire. As he casually walked away, leaving the gas station in flames, Derek's father called Janet again to tell her Adam was still alive and asked her to send more agents. But Janet told him that none of the beekeeper agents wanted to go after Adam, as they still saw him as their superior. Left with no other option, Derek's dad decided to hire mercenaries. The next day, Derek's father met with these mercenaries and warned them that Adam wasn't just some regular guy. He used to be one of the best beekeeper agents. The mercenaries took note and started hunting for Adam, assuming they were up to the challenge. Meanwhile, Adam tracked down the agent who had attacked him the night before. He hacked into her computer and found the locations of Derek and his father. Turns out, Derek was hiding out in a building he owned, which served as a front for his shady online scams. With this info, Adam headed to the building, ready for whatever was coming. The place was surrounded by FBI agents, all there to protect Derek on his father's orders. But Adam wasn't fazed. He used his insane fighting skills to take down the guards and agents outside. Once inside, he faced off with the mercenaries hired to stop him, as well as more FBI agents. Despite being outnumbered, Adam took them all down. Afterward, he interrogated the business manager, but the guy stayed quiet. Frustrated, Adam tortured him until the man spilled the beans. Derek and his father were hiding at the president's house. Just then, Verona, along with a group of FBI agents, showed up to arrest Adam. Sensing her arrival, Adam managed to escape just in time. Meanwhile, Derek and his dad were at President Danforth's house when they got the news that Adam had wiped out all the mercenaries they had hired. Worried, Derek's father told him to stay put while he instructed the remaining FBI agents to keep him safe. Verona, back at the FBI office, told her team that Adam was behind the chaos. But deep down, she understood why he did it. He was avenging her mom's death by going after the criminals responsible. She also discovered that Derek's online scam business was the root of it all. As Adam planned his next move, Derek's dad hired even more mercenaries to protect his son, despite the FBI already being on high alert. He knew firsthand how dangerous Adam was. Adam, ever the resourceful one, snuck into the president's house by hanging onto the underside of a car and disguised himself as an FBI agent to blend in. Once inside, he planted several bombs outside the building and made his way in, now wearing a suit. Inside, Derek's mom confronted her son, furious that his scam operation had been funding her presidential campaign. She was embarrassed by his actions and worried that if the truth came out, her political career would be over. Derek, without a care in the world, admitted everything. At the same time, Adam, along with Verona and other FBI agents, slipped into the house. Verona, spotting Adam, feared he might attack the president, so she sent the team to capture him. This led to a chase, but Adam ended up cornered. Derek's dad ordered his men to finish Adam off, but in a surprise move, Adam detonated the bombs he had planted earlier, blowing up the area. In the chaos, Adam took out the guards and a hitman hired by Derek's father, then made his way toward Derek. As Derek's dad tried to bribe Adam with cash, Adam showed he wasn't interested, inflicting pain on him instead. Inside, Derek held his mother hostage, demanding Adam back off. Verona tried to calm the situation, but suddenly, Derek was shot dead. With the coast clear, Adam escaped through a window and vanished into the sea, having completed his mission to avenge Mrs. Parker's death.